And you also can access to the database using command line user interface as well. I prefer doing this way, and I feel more comfortable with it. Okay, next, how to deploy. If you do it like a couple of times, it will become easy, but it's very hard for a beginner. And sometimes like it can be much complex. And for today, we are going to try to keep it simple as possible, and we're going to deploy it to Heroku. And because we are using Heroku because it's like it have tools help us. We just need to deploy with a Git, right? We push a Git, and then it will deploy for you.
Just like Netlify. Remember how when we pushed to Netlify? We pushed to our GitHub, and then Netlify would pay attention and then update. Except this one is a little bit different. We have to push it to Heroku unless we set it up. Okay, we either push to Heroku or we push to our repository with additional configurations, and Heroku will then deploy.
And if it fails, it would you have a message, a log to see where you failed. Basically, it's written on top of AWS, Amazon Web Services, and originally which were written developed for Ruby and Rails. Now it's like support everything, basically. More about backend stuff. For front end, you're gonna in your final project front end, you're gonna deploy to Netlify, and back end you're gonna deploy to Heroku. It's super easy to deploy, sometimes not. And so easy to scale, you have to pay money. Then for free dyno, it's like have limitation. Like for example, it only provide you like 450 hours per month. So if you exceed that hours, your app's dead.
But how does it define an hour? Your use of an hour?
No, it's running an hour. It's a server. It's always runs, right?
Guys, that you know how whenever we run Python app.py, do you know how that screen kind of turns on and it lives for a little bit? This Heroku is going to hold that for us, okay? And that process is going to live on Heroku, and we got to make sure it lives, and we got to configure it with environment variables, and we have to connect it to a database. And then, like for example, what Kwa was just saying, that database that we hook up can only have 10,000 records. Okay, these are limitations unless we pay more money. Okay, obviously deployment gets way more complicated if we didn't use a tool like this. Despite the fact of what Quad just said about it being complicated, kind of complicated, right? It's actually relatively easy, much easier than it used to be. Okay, so this is the simplest way that we're going to do this. Set up an API that can access a production database. Okay, everyone? Huh?
And don't worry about it too much. Like you will receive emails saying you're running out of time, about 3 hours, or a free rows in your database. As long as you only have 10,000 rows in total in your database. So I actually did exceed that numbers in my project. 10,000 records. Yeah, rows, entries.
So imagine you have a users table, and then you have 9,000 users in it, right? And then each user makes one post. Have you exceeded your database limitations?
It's 18,000.
Yeah, so you've exceeded them.
And it costs more in the long run because you have to pay for anything extra, right? And it's limited to a few things, like you cannot store files. Heroku, it doesn't allow you. Actually, it allows you to store the files on their server, but like as a routine, they will delete your files. As a routine, like if you have 2 dynos, like the chance of being deleted for every day is like half. Something like that. You can dig more into it on the internet, but you shouldn't store file on Heroku. Store it somewhere else and then get a link, the URL, and put it in your database, right? Easy to scale in the basic way, yeah. And if you have your own server or maybe a VPS like I have, and I spend a lot of time playing around with my VPS, and you can do a lot more adjustment It's hard. It takes much more time, but it's worth it.
What is a VPS?
It's a virtual private server.
Virtual private.
It's like a server, but it's smaller. And today we are going to deploy our blog app to Heroku. And before that, we have to add our Postgres support.
Can you show them yours? World's best great.
Okay, later.
Just-
And then when we learn how to debug along the way.
So what Ed just said about a VPS, if you set up your own server, right, and then you configure it, this is what you can do. So you'll see here Kwa at worldbest.tech. He set up one app to live on caffeine.great.dev. Here's one app, and he's gonna show another app. He's got a to-do app somewhere.
This app is like it helps you. My app it helps you to your Heroku app to stay alive. Like if your app's inactive for 30 minutes, it will go to sleep, and then it will take a lot of time, like 1 minute or half a minute to wake up every time you send a request to it. So this app basically it will send like every 29 minutes. I will send a request to your server to keep your server alive, awake. Okay. The name is easy, caffeine.right.dev. And one more thing is, I don't know the name of my blog.
Did you get to do somewhere? I remember showing me to do the other day.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's the one on Heroku app. This is my ticket box. As you can see, it takes a lot of time to wake up. Yeah. Waiting. Okay. This is September 2020. The year 20. That's why it's still here. Also this.
No, not your ticket box.
Which one?
Show them multiple apps on your world best.
Multiple app on
Like,
my
did you have a to-do? You showed me the to-do the other day, right? The to-do? Is that the great?
This one?
Yeah. Oh, this is a different URL entirely. Okay. Alright, so we got a little sidetracked. I was trying to show you guys that you can hide multiple apps within one URL. If you guys know how to set up your own server. That's what we were talking about in the slides with the VPS. That's what Kwa was trying to say. Like Heroku.
There's to-do.greatdev, and then there's, I don't know, ticketbox.greatdev.
Exactly. Heroku is limited in that way. It's like this. Imagine you guys go to a mall, or like imagine you guys want to open a restaurant. Okay, you guys know how to cook great food. You guys know how to source your ingredients. Yes, that's awesome. You guys can open up a restaurant, but you guys do not know how to build a store, right? So sometimes you're gonna go and rent a place from like a company. I don't know, real estate company, construction company. Rent a place where you can sell your food or cook your food. And it's like two different jobs. So Heroku's gonna solve the problem of configuring multiple apps for us at a URL, and they're gonna give us one for free for every single one of our apps, just like Netlify. Sorry, I gave up.
The Heroku, I will show them. And on your Heroku dashboard, you will have a list of your apps, current apps. Here, like this, something like this. Okay. So everything single line here, app here is a dyno. They call it dyno.
A process. You know how when you guys run Python app.py, that is a process. A dyno is another word for process.
Yes, app.
So he's got 3 apps right now that are saved on Heroku. One of them's fallen asleep. Basically, falling asleep means that if you there's no activity on your server hasn't gotten a request for a while, then Heroku will kind of put it asleep, and it'll take longer to access resources such as stuff in the database. And you can see on the right, here's a log of all of our builds. Each time we push to Heroku, it builds again. There can be errors. Qua's done a good job. The last 3 times he pushed, there was an error. A couple times ago, he pushed, there was a failure because it wasn't configured right. Okay, there are many configurations. There are many reasons why your app can fail. If you guys do not indent correctly in your app.py and then you git commit, get push to Heroku, I guarantee you this build fails. Does that make sense? If you write errors in your code and you try to push to Heroku, when they build it, it's going to fail. So you got to make sure it's working locally first Make sure the app works locally, and then there are additional configuration steps. Can you show them the environment variables?
4 in the morning.
Yeah, I usually wake still up at 4.
That's what it takes to be a programmer, guys. 4 o'clock in the morning, writing code.
It's normal, man.
You know, Qual's probably sitting under some bridge somewhere, looking for internet with his laptop. 4 o'clock in the morning.
Many times your deployment fail, not just because of your code, it's because of your dependencies. Sometimes it doesn't work on your server, you have to change a little bit. You use another dependency or install another version of the dependencies. Okay. What else?
So this is the tool we're learning today, Heroku. Okay, one more thing. Let me show one more thing. While we're over there, Heroku. Show them environment variables.
Mine?
Just click the tab. I want to see the tab.
Which
Settings. Settings.
The set var?
Yeah. Right there. Okay, so you guys see? Don't click. You don't have to click it.
Oh, no, it's my credential. I don't want.
I know. It's okay. So you guys see at the top, there's this tab called Settings, right? Beneath that, when you click Settings, you see like name, and then below that, config vars. What are config vars? Those are our environment variables. If you guys click it, you guys can set keys and values. In React, what file was that called?
.env.
.env. Okay, this is where we set that right there. You have to know how to do this. You can watch. You have to know how to do this in a second.
You don't push your .env to Git, right? So at the same thing goes for Heroku. You don't push the .env file. Is that you put all the variables inside here, right? Same goes with Python and Heroku and React. Okay, and you can store your password or something else inside here, so that I'm not gonna click on it. And if you're doing it correctly, the size of your app should not be this big. It should be less than 100 megabytes. My first time I deployed, it was like 400 megabytes, and like, what the heck? I had to wait like 10 minutes every time I push for it to deploy, because I didn't set up my environment correctly. I installed every package into my environment, and that takes a long time to deploy. And you should not do that. That's why I was very focused on how you set up your environment at first. That's very important.
He's saying also don't put the env inside Git. Okay, don't pay attention to that.
Never.
You have to name that file in your Git ignore.
Okay, and here's the guide to deploy to Heroku with Git. Okay, click on it. This official documentations to deploy with Git. You need to install Git and Heroku CLI. You already have Git, I suppose, and you have to install Heroku CLI and then go into your app folder, the root folder. Do something like I suppose you already have done this step, right? Okay, and then go in that folder. You do Heroku Create. Basically, it will create an app on Heroku for you with a name something like this. Okay, and the URL is like this. And here's the Git on Heroku. It looks like a Git on GitHub, right? They're the same. And you also, if you already have an app, maybe no. Okay, if you run this command, it will connect, add a remote for you. Git remote -v, you have Heroku, and you also have a origin by yourself.
A different remote.
Yeah,
you have a different remote. Right here, can you open up your terminal and then show them? Okay, just go. Okay, so type in Heroku-V. So what you guys see here is that we have an application installed on Qual's computer. You guys are all gonna need to install this, right? And then you can run a whole bunch of different commands using this app. Okay, it's a command line tool, just like our to-do app, except obviously it's a lot more complicated than your to-do app. People got paid money to do this. There's a whole bunch of magic this command can do. It's just a ridiculous thing. So right now, Qual's just logging in right now. He just he ran Heroku login, What that does is open up a browser, and then it asks the user, the developer, to sign in with their Heroku credentials. And then if the user signs in, we can go back to our terminal, and you guys will see that we've signed in successfully as Hua, right? Because that browser that he had open had already been authenticated with Heroku. They already put a cookie on his computer. They already ran local storage.set item something. And then some other developer read that and confirmed that Hua was logged in.
Okay. So for an existing app, Heroku app, like if you create an app on the Heroku website, and then you want to connect your Heroku app with your local app, run this command. Heroku git remote, and then the name of the app on Heroku. It will add a remote to your Git on local, right? If you want to rename it, okay, here's the command lines.
You access this application using Git. Okay, let's make that clear. You're going to be running a whole bunch of Git commands. When you push to Heroku, you're going to sometimes have a new remote. Remember how I told you guys in week 1, whenever we were first learning about Git? Git remote -v. There are many of these. You can push to many different remote repositories. And in this case, we're going to be pushing to one that's called Heroku.
Yeah. Instead of pushing to your origin, now you're pushing to Heroku.
And Heroku is going to be linked to your project on Heroku.
Yep. And then you have to wait for deployment. It will take a couple of minutes. And if you don't want to deploy your master branch, you can deploy a different branch like this. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's the steps. And here you have to install it by doing this. Oh, wait. Here. There are a couple of instructions for different OS. Mac OS for Git. And then you have to, why so hard to read? Here, sorry, this was Git. Here's just one line. For macOS, you use Homebrew. For Windows, you have a MSI. Ubuntu, same thing. That's it. And then you have to log in. Right, that's it. And we're gonna use install Postgres first. Install Postgres. Installing Postgres is kind of confusing for new people because the syntax is different. There's a lot of steps. And I don't actually repeat those steps that many times, so I don't really remember how to do it. Just go to the documentation and read. Install on Windows. Here's the command lines. Why are you down there? Okay, and I would strongly advise that you install Postgres for Windows user. With Chocolatey, I think. Yeah. Install it with Chocolatey. It's easier to install. It's like a package management manager, just like Homebrew. And for Mac user, you should use Homebrew. Right? And then that's it. And then you have BG admin. Here's the UI. What's this? Online demo. Okay. It's just a web app.
This is your admin to look at your PostgreSQL database.
Yes. You have to log in. Continue. What is this? First, you have to log in and then you have to create a user. By default, your default user will be Postgres. and you shouldn't use that user. You should create a new user and then set up a password for that user, and then rent.
Create a second user.
Yeah, you should create a second user. For example, your name, and then rent on privilege to that user.
And remove the privilege from.
No. Don't remove anything. Just add one more user, and then grant on the permission for that user, and then use that user to access all the database. Alright? And that's it. Let's try it. Any question for? It's much more like technical, so you have to do it. So you run into problems, and then we will help you to get through it. Okay. Okay. First step: install Postgres, set it up, and then replace the SQLite with the Postgres. Okay. Okay. I forgot to show you how. What's this? That lôi voi. Okay, here. Instead of this command line, right? This line, called, right? This part, this string, you use another string. Let's go to A and B, create an E in B. Okay, and put your database URL inside. Let's call it os dot environ dot get. Here's the key of the variable. The key of the variable, let's say, is a PostgreSQL. Okay. And in here, I'm gonna define PostgreSQL equal to a string. Let's go. PostgreSQL URL. It's gonna be something like this. Okay. Here's the name of the database system. Okay. Here's the user. For example, khóa. Here's the password for my user. For example, hello world at location. Right now it should be localhost. And here's the port. The default port for Postgres 5432. And then the name of the database, let's call it that Lloyd Boy. That's good. Straightforward. Right? Username, password, add the IP address or the domain or just localhost, and then here is the port, and then here is the name of the database. Right? Then you're gonna connect it with your app, your Flash app. Okay, save it. And then I have to go out to my CLI and have to create the database. What did it call it? That Lloyd Boy. Okay, done. And I'm gonna run connect to that database. Okay, I'm inside my database using this user. Right now I have two user groups, admin and khóa. Right now I'm connecting to this user, this database using admin. Also I have khóa. I don't remember my name. Shit. Let's just create a new user. PostgreSQL create. It's actually a user role. It's a role. New user. Granting user as I said. You don't have to do that because you have the UI. I don't use UI, so I use these command lines. All right, here you go. Copy this. I'm gonna pass it here. And I'm not going to use this password. I use hello world. Right? Correct. And then gonna change the username here. Sierra with password, encrypt password, hello world. Right?
What was wrong? I don't understand why you have a problem at the moment. What's wrong with Qua being a super user? Why are you creating this user now?
I don't remember the password for Qua.
But you said it as hello world.
No, it's just for example. Here's the real name, Sierra with the password hello world, right? I'm gonna change this one. Sierra. Right? Okay, I already create the role here, and then I'm gonna rent on privilege on database that Lloyd boy to dot qua Sierra. Okay, granted. And now I can use Sierra with the password hello world to connect to my database called .logboy on localhost port 5432. Okay, let's save it. I think I have to install on the alright, pip install python.env. It's a packet that we have you read the variable here inside your application. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to bring out my this one. I'm going to bring it. Okay, and then Python app.py. All right, here's the URL, right? As you can see, the links, the config. Postgres, Sierra, hello world, localhost, exactly the same with this. So I know now that my variable here is correct, and maybe I'm connected to my database. Let's try it.
Can you show him PG admin next?
I have to install it.
Oh, you didn't install it yet?
No. Okay. Now let's say let's create a new user. For example, that's my address. No. 1, 2, 3. Create a new user. Done. Let's go select start from user. Okay. Now you can see there's a hidden table called user, and now I cannot see any the user that I just created just now, right? Instead I see admin. What the hell? The admin here is the default user for this database, and I cannot access to the table user, my own table user. Not this one is from the Postgres. That's why I told you to name the table users to avoid this situation.
A name collision.
Yeah, name collision.
It's called a name collision.
So I'm gonna pause a block, and then I'm gonna test it. Select star from, what did you name it?
Post.
Okay, doesn't matter. I'm gonna bring all the tables, DTs, so be all the tables. Right now I have command lines post user. Okay, select star from post. So I just create it just now. You can see.
Can you open another window, another tab here? Okay, now open up Flash Shell. Flash Shell. if he did user.query.get 1, what would you guys expect to see? Or post, no, post. We'll import everything first. Okay, so look back at the UI. Look back at the UI. We have one post. It says hello world, right? Let's look at our database and look at that query again. What's it say right here? The reason why there's a record right here when Qual writes some actual raw SQL, select all from post, is because I built a blog app. He cloned it, he ran it, he set it up on his computer. He created one post. Go back to your Chrome. Just a second ago we created an account. We created a post. So we also demonstrated that there is a real database working on Qual's computer, and that he's about to show you that you can still query this data using Flash Shell. So if he did post.query.get, that one, he has that same user. But we can't prove that what data this is yet. Can we? See the email? Okay, there's his email. Did I put the email there? I forgot. Can you show me?
That's my email.
But show me the UI. I want them to see the UI. And we see that the email right here is correct inside the placeholder, right? So it's the current user. So now we can do post.query.get. And we see that it's hello world. So there are 3 different ways to affect the same database. The user can manually create a post. We can write raw SQL, and we can write code, right? We can write code using Flask. I hope that's clear, everyone. That's like a very important concept. That there's a whole bunch of moving parts. Okay.
Using UI sometimes generally is faster than using CLI like this. All right. So that's it. So again, you call the URL from a global environment inside your env here, and you have to define the vSQL here in your env with the URL. Here's the address of your database. It was the same on Heroku. On Heroku, something like blah 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 blah, and the password something like this, blah 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 blah, and then here the localhost. It's not localhost anymore. It's something like blah 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 like this.
It doesn't matter. It's something you copy and paste. Okay, so basically, to get this to work correctly, you have to know what an environment variable is. If you do not know what an environment variable is, you cannot use this.
So just to let you know, this part is the user, this part is the password, and here's the domain, the port, the database names. Okay, save it. And please try to bring the path here to make sure that you get the correct path before you deploy or anything, right?
Quad's saying just leave it there. This is so important, just leave it there. You're gonna want to see it in your logs.
And then in your local, you can delete this line and save it. Basically, on your local, the app will go and find this variable inside your env, and then it cannot find it. It will return none, right? If none, it will pass this condition. It will get it will read the second part here, okay? And here's the database on your local, like this, okay? Or you can name it like this. Just fuck it. We are not going to use SQLite anymore. So just go here, copy this, replace this, and name it Heroku SQL, local SQL, right? And here, on your local file, you say, what did I do? Okay, your local file, you should name your variable something like this. And then on Heroku, you don't have you skip this one and you just replace this one with Heroku physical, and then at the end is the URL here.
So normally you flip the order.
Yeah, just
You have
like
Heroku load first,
flip it.
and the local after.
So that's how you can you can work on local and the live version at the same time, right? Actually, there's a user story for it here.
Can you show us the user admin as well, the user interface? Because like you're saying, we're going to use that, but you're not demoing it.
Yeah, I need to install it. Okay, making it work locally at the same time, it work on Heroku at the same time, right? That's how I just show you how to do it. Here, having two variables, and shit. Let's see if I have widget with. Nah, I don't have it. What the hell? Widget mean to install a widget mean you don't need to use homebrew, just copy in. Alright, download it. Oh, it's just updated just now. 14 November. It's 81 megabyte. No. Yeah, click it. What? Fail? Why fail? Okay, save it. Well, you install it, you have to remember your first account will have no password. It's your root system password, right? Open it. Agree. Blah, 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 blah. First time I install this. Okay. How do I use it? I think I have an icon here, right? When you open Widget Min, you have an icon.
Is there? It should be one out there.
Yeah, it should be somewhere here, but I cannot see because too many icons right now. Oh shit! No, not installed yet.
So should we run from, basically what I'm saying, should we run from command line or from this in the interface?
I'll show you guys this in just a second if he doesn't get this working.
Because he had.
Yeah, this is a specific tool. Like, you guys can choose. At the end of the day, developers are creative people. They get to do whatever they want. That's why some developers get to be called designers, and others get to be called the architects, because we're choosing what tools we want to get it built, right? Quad likes doing it from the command line. I think it's okay. I like having UIs. You know, I like command lines too. I like feeling like a hacker, but I have enough experience where I know sometimes certain tools are easier to use for me, right? So I like using command line in certain situations, and not.
It doesn't work me.
It's just a drag and drop it somewhere. Can you drag and drop it? Release it. Yeah. I'm surprised you can download that quick. This is a sophisticated tool, man. There's a whole bunch of black magic in it.
That's why I don't use it.
Yeah, it's
It's too hard to install.
I'll show you in a second. Like, we gotta get this deployed right now. Look.
Yeah, during that time you can install it on your computer.
Okay, I'll show you. But like, once we get it installed, maybe in the afternoon,